It's strange how summer nights T feel the same once you've grown up. People say they're meant to bring warmth, laughter, and memories wrapped in moonlight. But some nights refuse to offer that kind of comfort. Some nights are stained. Some nights ... never leave you. I was 17 the summer it happened. Quiet, ordinary girl with quiet, ordinary friends. Or so I thought. I lived in a town where nothing truly bad ever happened. That's what my parents believed. That's what I believed too, until I learned how naive we both were. It started with a stupid dare. Isn't that always how these things begin? Me, my best friend Dana, and a guy named Marcus. He wasn't really a friend, more like someone who floated in and out of our group because he was reckless, loud, and too charming for his own good. That night wasn't supposed to be anything more than another sleepover at Dana's junk food. Music, pointless gossip about people we'd forget in a few years. But Marcus showed up around 10, drunk on vodka he'd stolen from his father's cabinet. I remember the glint in his eye when he leaned in close and said, "Want to do something you'll remember forever? If I could go back, I'd say no." I'd tell myself to stay inside, to lock the doors, to keep the lights on. But I didn't. I said yes. It was stupid. 17 and craving something to make my heart race. He took us to the woods behind Dana's house. Not the cute kind of woods with trails and signs. Kind that's dense, silent, swallowing sound the deeper you go. The air smelled thick with moss and something else. Something metallic. I remember that too. We walked for what felt like hours, though it couldn't have been more than 20 minutes. The trees closed in around us like walls. Dana started to complain, but Marcus just laughed. "Almost there. Almost where?" That's what I asked, but he didn't answer. He just kept moving, flashlight bobbing ahead like a lure. Finally, we stopped in a clearing. There wasn't anything remarkable about it. No creepy house, no ancient gravestones, just trees. Trees and a strange, heavy quiet, like the woods were holding their breath. Marcus pointed to the center. "We play the game here." "What game?" Dana asked. "One man hide and seek?" I didn't know what that was. I thought it sounded ridiculous. But Marcus explained, and with every word, my skin grew colder. A stuffed doll, name written in red. A blade, blood, salt water, rice, hide, seek. You do it to wake something up, something old. I laughed. I thought it was one of his drunken jokes, till he pulled the doll from his backpack. Pale, stitched mouth, dead black button eyes. "I already prepped it," he said, voice lower now. I used my blood. Dana wanted to leave. I wanted to leave, but Marcus was already slicing the doll open again, stuffing it with more rice, more hair. His, not ours. Not yet. I should have walked away. But fear roots you in place sometimes. Not terror, not yet, just the fear of looking stupid. The fear of being the coward. He set the doll down in the center of the clearing, poured salt water over it, whispered something I didn't understand. Then he said its name. "Come find me." Silence. Then from the tress movement. I didn't see it. I heard it. Something dragging, slow, scraping. Not animal. Not human. Heavy. Wet. I looked at Dana, her eyes wide and shining in the dark. Marcus smiled. "It's starting." We ran. I don't know how long we ran. Branches tore at my arms, my legs. I couldn't hear Dana behind me anymore. I couldn't hear Marcus, only my own breath and something else. Footsteps. It's not mine, not theirs. Something following. When I stumbled into Dana's backyard, my chest was burning. My legs gave out beneath me. I didn't stop crying until her mother found me on the porch an hour later, alone, covered in dirt. Dana never came back. Marcus never came back. Only me. The police found nothing. No footprints but mine. No signs of struggle, no Marcus. No Dana, just the woods, indifferent and silent, swallowing every trace like it always had. They questioned me for days. My parents sat there with pale faces, shaking heads, asking me over and over, "Why would you go there?" I didn't have the words to answer them. Because if I told the truth, no one would believe me. Not then, not now. Dana's mother cried herself sick. Marcus's father blamed me, said I led them into the woods, said I was jealous, vindictive, attention hungry, but I knew what I heard out there. I knew what followed me home. For weeks, my house didn't feel safe. Doors locked themselves, lights flickered. Shadows moved where they shouldn't. My dog wouldn't come into my room. My reflection in the mirror. It started looking wrong. It's not at first. Just little things. A blink too slow. A smile too wide. But then it got worse. One night I woke up to scratching beneath my bed. Not the kind of scratching a mouse makes. Long, deliberate, fingernails dragging across wood. I couldn't scream, couldn't breathe. Just pulled the covers tighter and waited for it to stop. Morning came. I looked. Nothing but under my bed. A trail of wet footprints, small, child-sized, leading out of sight. I stopped sleeping after that. I stopped talking too. My parents thought I needed therapy. I didn't know the thing hiding in my house wasn't in my head. It was in the walls, the mirrors, the dark spaces between seconds. It whispered sometimes, "Come play." I started seeing Dana, not in dreams, not in memories, in reflections. Standing behind me, hair dripping wet, mouth sewn shut just like that doll. Her eyes didn't look like Dana's anymore. They looked like buttons. Marcus, his shadow hung from the ceiling fan in my room. Every night, twisting, slowly watching. I tried salt. I tried prayers. I even burned the clothes I wore that night. Nothing worked, because I never finished the game. I never found the doll. I left it out there calling for me. The last straw was the night I found my bedroom door open. I never sleep with it open. Ever. But there it was. And on the floor, tiny footprints again, leading from the door to my bed. Something was waiting beneath it. I could hear it breathing. Slow, wet. "Come find me." I ran out of the house, into the street, in my pajamas, barefoot. Neighbors watching from windows, calling my name like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had. But I couldn't stay there anymore, not with it watching. Not with Dana whispering from the mirrors. Not with Marcus hanging from my ceiling. I went back to the woods, alone, because I thought maybe I could end it. The woods looked different that night, or maybe I just saw them differently now. Trees leaned in like listening ears, roots curled like fingers gripping the earth. Every path seemed to stretch too far, twist too wrong, but I walked. I walked because I had nowhere else to run. The clearing wasn't hard to find. Not anymore. It was as if something had been guiding me straight there, tugging at my bones like strings. When I stepped into it, I felt it again, that silence. Heavy, waiting. The doll was still there, lying in the dirt, eyes staring at nothing, mouth stitched shut. Damp, rotting, surrounded by a circle of footprints too small to be Dana's, too wide to be a child's. I wasn't alone here. I knew that now. I knelt. My hands trembled. "I found you," I whispered. Nothing happened. Then, a sound. Not from the woods. From beneath me. Like something waking up beneath the earth, shifting, stretching. The doll moved. Just a twitch. A finger. A blink. Out. But it moved. And from the darkness between trees, shapes stepped out. Not people. Not anymore. Twisted things wearing familiar faces. Dana, her mouth still sewn shut, but her eyes wide with hunger. Marcus, his head lolling, like it was still hanging from that rope only I could see. Behind them, others, more pale figures with button eyes. All watching. "Your turn," Marcus said, though his lips barely moved. My throat closed. My heart slammed against my ribs. But I understood this wasn't a game of hiding anymore. It was a game of survival. I picked up the doll. Its fabric pulsed like a heartbeat against my skin. "Tag," I said, my voice breaking. "You're it." The ground shuddered. Roots snapped. The clearing split open like a mouth yawning wide beneath me. I fell. Down through soil, through rot, through something deeper than earth. Hands clawed at me. Small hands, cold hands. They didn't scratch. They gripped. They pulled, and I went down. Down into dark. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in the woods anymore. I was somewhere else. A house. My house. But wrong. Stretched long and narrow. Hallways bending where they shouldn't. Shadows too thick. Light too weak. And in every mirror, Dana's face. Watching. waiting, smiling now, her stitches gone. "Welcome home," she whispered. I wasn't alone here either. I could hear footsteps above me, scraping beneath me, breathing in the walls. Somewhere the doll laughed. I started to run again. I ran, but this house had no exits. Every door led to another hallway. Every hallway bled into another room. And every room had mirrors. In those mirrors, Dana never blinked, never moved, just smiled wider, watching me wear myself down, watching me lose the difference between what was real and what wasn't anymore. Some opened to places that couldn't exist, a staircase into black water, a room of nothing but teeth, a nursery where dolls hung from the ceiling by their stitched mouths. But there was one door, one that opened every time I touched it, one that waited. Behind it was Marcus, or what was left of him, sat in a chair, head tilted, rope around his neck tied to nothing, hanging from nowhere. His body swayed like wind touched him, though there was no wind here. "You shouldn't have come back," he said, voice full of dust. "I didn't finish the game," I whispered. "That's not how this works." I asked him how to end it, how to go home, how to stop the thing crawling beneath my skin every time I looked too long into the dark. Marcus laughed. It wasn't his laugh. It belonged to something deeper. "You don't go home, you bring home here," he pointed. Not at me, behind me. Dana stood there now, closer than reflection, stitches gone, mouth opening slow. Inside it, teeth that weren't human, too many, too sharp. "Come play," she said. Something cold wrapped around my ankle. Hands again, hands pulling me toward the mirror. I fought. I kicked. I screamed. No one heard, because no one was there. Not really. Only the doll, lying in the corner, smiling now. The mirror swallowed me whole, and I woke up, or thought I did, back in my bed. Room dark, door open again. But the house was too quiet, too empty. I called for my parents, no answer. I checked their room, their beds untouched, dust thick where footprints should have been. The clock on the wall ticked backward. I looked in the mirror. It wasn't my face anymore. It was Dana's. And behind her, something moving, something waiting. The doll, still smiling, still waiting to be found. "Your turn." I don't know how long I stood there, staring at that face that wasn't mine. Time didn't seem to work the same way here. Minutes stretched, seconds repeated. The clock spun and spun until the numbers meant nothing. Behind me, the house creaked like it was breathing. Floorboards shifted beneath unseen feet. Doors whispered open and shut. The fridge hummed a tune I couldn't recognize, but it made my teeth ache to hear it. And the doll. The doll kept moving closer, not fast, not in plain sight. But every time I blinked, it had shifted, from the mirror to the dresser, from the dresser to the floor, from the floor to the end of my bed. "Your turn," it said again, in a voice that sounded like all of us, me, Dana, Marcus blended into one. I tried to leave, of course I did. The hallway wasn't there anymore. Only a door, painted red, cracked open, waiting. I stepped through and found myself back in the woods. Or something that wore the woods like a mask. Trees bent at angles bones shouldn't. The sky pulsed, breathing in shades of black and blue. The moon hung low, swollen like a rotten fruit. In the center of the clearing, the doll sat, alone, silent now, but around it them.
Marcus.
Others I didn't know, pale, hollow-eyed, waiting, watching. Their mouths moved together, not in words but in shapes.
Alex.
By silent prayers to something beneath the soil, something beneath me. I felt it move. The doll lifted its hand, pointed at me, and from the ground, hands. Countless grasping, pulling me down again. Through dirt, through rot, through layers of night, until light became a memory. I didn't scream this time. I saved my breath. I would need it where I was going, because I understood now. You don't finish the game, you become it. And the next summer night, when another foolish, restless kid follows a dare into these woods, I'll be waiting. They don't tell you what happens after you disappear. Not the missing ones. Not the ones who stay. The stories always end too early. The police give up. The families forget how to hope. The friends grow quiet. Life moves on without you, but you stay exactly where they left you, Learned that the hard way. Down here, beneath the soil, beneath the roots, beneath the bones of others who thought they could play this game and win, time doesn't pass. Time watches. It stares at you with button eyes and stitched lips and waits for you to understand. You aren't alive, but you aren't dead either. You're waiting. For the next, I saw Dana again, not through mirrors this time, face to face. Her mouth was whole again. She spoke, and the words made no sense but burned in my head anyway. They told me how to listen to the house, how to watch the trees, how to know when another foolish soul was walking too close. And Marcus, he laughed. He laughed still. Somewhere above me, somewhere swinging, somewhere hanging between here and nowhere, whispers the rules into the dirt, teaches them to the roots. One man hide and seek. Tag, you're it. I stopped counting the days because there aren't any. Just moments stretching like skin pulled too tight. Sometimes I see the doll watching me, even down here, still smiling, still waiting to be found. Sometimes it's smaller, sometimes larger, sometimes it looks like me, because I'm learning how to smile like it does. I'm learning how to wait. I'm learning how to listen for footsteps, because summer's coming again. And when the woods call someone new inside, it will be my turn. They think it's just nightmares. That's how it always begins. Little things. A door they closed, now standing open. Light they switched off, flickering back to life. Footsteps in the attic, when no one lives upstairs. They tell themselves stories to stay calm. It's old wiring, it's wind, it's stress. They tell themselves ghosts aren't real. They tell themselves nothing's watching. But something is. I'm watching. So is Dana. So is Marcus. So are the others with no names, no faces, only hunger wrapped in skin like paper left out in the rain. We watch through the mirrors, we whisper through the walls, we wait beneath the floorboards, beneath the bed, beneath the fragile surface, where they still believe they're safe. They don't see how the house tilts toward them now. How the rooms grow longer at night, how the shadows breathe with them, in and out, in and out. They found the doll. They called its name. They played the first round without even knowing the rules. Now it's my turn. No more waiting. No more hiding. Move through the cracks. I pull at their dreams like threads unraveling. I touch their reflection in the glass until it doesn't look like them anymore. They'll hear my voice soon. They'll answer without knowing why. And when they step through the wrong door at the wrong moment, on the wrong summer night, they'll find me waiting. It always ends the same way. They run. Through halls that stretch too far, through rooms that shouldn't exist, through doors that lead them deeper instead of out. They scream, but no one hears them. Not anymore. Because they're already here, with me. With us, they find the mirrors first. Always the mirrors. Where their faces don't move the way they should. Where something behind the glass smiles when they cry. Then they find the dolls, lined up neat. Some with buttons for eyes, some with stitches for mouths, some still soft and warm, as if something inside is breathing slow, waiting to wake. They understand too late. The house was never haunted. It's hungry. It feeds on fear. On footsteps, on breath, on names spoken where names should never be. It feeds on the game. One man hide and seek. Tag, you're it. They vanish, like Dana did. Like Marcus. Like me. They sink beneath the roots. They forget what they were. They'll learn to watch, to wait, to listen for the next. Because summer always comes again, the house will find another. The woods will call another. The doll will smile for another. And I will be there. In the mirror, behind the door, under the bed, waiting your turn.